My name is Stephen McGhee, and for about the last 20 years, I've been teaching leadership. We're all looking for some form of fulfillment on what I would call our soul. And we're also looking for results so that we can live well on the physical levels of reality. The first step is, what do you want? And that's a super simple question, but it's not so easy. Because a lot of times we go for what we want from our head. Like I remember when I went into banking right after college because everyone around me thought, if you're going to be successful, Stephen, you should be a banker. Notice the language, you should be a banker. Well, it didn't line up with my heart and soul, and I did it for quite a while, but the longer I did it, the more my soul, my spirit was sort of dying away. So when I say, what do you want? I mean it from a heart and a head, like an integration of who you are as a life leader. So that's point one. Maybe there's something you're thinking of today that you've denied yourself, some heartfelt dream, whether it's a relationship or a beautiful new home, or you want to make more money, or it could be that you just want more peace and equanimity in your life. You decide, but get clear and know that it must, at least in my view, come from your heart and your head. Number two, this is where the rubber meets the road a little bit, because I know a lot of people, and maybe you've done it, I know I've done it a bunch of times in my life. I've said I want this or that, but when it really came down to is like, what am I willing to do? Like, am I really willing to do what's required to release 30 pounds of weight or 40 pounds of weight or do a triathlon or start a new relationship or build that beautiful dream home? What am I willing to do? Am I willing to disengage from things that no longer work for me? Let's say that I want to have greater optimal health and I have a I love breads and butters and I found out that gluten's not good for me. What am I willing to do? If it means that I have to sacrifice something to get more of what I want, I invite you today to be thinking about the areas where you have great willingness to accomplish step one, which is what you want. So step number three, and I love this because I think even though we call ourselves human beings, most of us these days are human doings. We are so busy. Almost everyone that I try to meet with or have a phone call with or even connect with in a deeper conversation, there's this feeling of overwhelm, like I'm just too busy for anything. And it's because we're overdoing it, in my view. So step number three is, who are you going to be? Because rather than what are you going to do? And notice that who we are being as leaders can change in a holy instant. It can happen now. So for example, I can be fearful or I can be loving and make that choice through willingness in a nanosecond. Maybe to meet your objectives from step one, maybe you need to be more consistent, or maybe you need to be more vulnerable. But beingness is a soft skill through leadership. And each of us knows, I think through our intuition, where we want to improve in terms of who we are being. Now, what I want to submit to you today is be that now. There is no reason to wait. I don't care if you're 16 or 98 years young. Who you want to be can shift in a nanosecond, and it takes consistency to have it become a part of you, but you can shift it anytime you want. So choose that way of being as a consistency now. So step number four, a good friend of mine by the name of John Rogers said this to me once, and it's like it went straight to the heart and soul of who I was. He said, spirit meets us at the point of action. So a lot of people that are moving forward in certain areas of their life, that there's this idea that if we focus on it, we can get it. And I'm not knocking The Secret, the movie or the book. There was a lot of great information in there about focus. But from my point of view, and working with people for over 20 years, it's not enough. Spirit meets us at the point of action. So something happens when we step out, when we make that phone call, when we make that commitment, when we set up that relationship, or whatever the next actions are that are important for us and our objectives. From step one, what do you want? Spirit will always meet us at the point of action, and you're going to know if and when you're on course by the enthusiasm, and as Kathy has said, the happiness, that comes through when I'm doing something that I love, the joy, the enthusiasm, the inspiration, that to me is a really good indication that I am on course. Spirit meets us at the point of action. Step number 5, use everything for your learning, your growth, and your advancement. We all know that when we set out to do bigger, better things, when it requires courage for us to grow, I've been a lot of times in my life where I've been afraid because growth can be scary. It's like my comfort zone might be inside this little circle and I'm going outside of my circle. And that can be frightening. Sometimes when we step forward, we're not going to have everything go our way. Sometimes there will be obstacles and challenges, even though Spirit's meeting us at the point of action. Even then, even if it's some health opportunity, use it for your advancement. I was recently talking with an individual that she found out that she has some high inflammation in her body and it's causing all kinds of problems in her body in terms of like potentially fibromyalgia or chronic fatigue. She's been exhausted. And so she's really had to shift how she relates to the foods that she puts in her body. But guess what? She told me after 1 week of shifting it, she's never felt better, never slept better, because she's using that particular challenge to her advancement. I know that steps are not always linear, but these are 5 steps that I promise you, if you'll engage yourself in them, breathe them into your body, mind, heart, and soul, they will take root and they will also take flight. So thank you for being a part of my day. I hope that in some way I've been able to serve you.